Hi, I'm James, your holistic practitioner, and today I'm going to do a short video about what to do when you have a client that's coming to you, or you're working on yourself, or maybe a family member that's coming to you and they're really not well. They're going through like one thing after the next. Their body is stressed, they are regularly getting sick, they feel pain in their body, their digestion's not working well. They have cloudy thinking, their energy levels are really low, and it seems like they're really falling apart. Like you're thinking to yourself, where do I even start? Well, that's what this video is about. How to address the biggest things first and watch how fast they improve. So let's get started. This video really addresses the health side of things, but really when we work on our health, we typically improve areas of our relationships, our financial improvement, and our spiritual connection. So this video really is addressing the health side of things, but when we address people's health, other areas of their life typically improves as well. Their relationships get better, their bank account gets bigger, their connection with their spiritual side, their spiritual balance gets better, and their self-confidence obviously goes up if they're not chronically sick. There's nothing worse than being sick because everything else falls apart in your life. So let's address the big things first. Now, this channel is looking at things in a different way. We're not approaching things in the medical, using drugs, traditional therapy way. We're looking at things in a holistic, energy work, bigger, maybe spiritual way, energetic way. Because sometimes when we go beyond just the physical chemistry and emotional states of a person, you go down into their programming, into their energy systems and their subconscious and their innate intelligence, we can shift everything else that's fallen apart. So I'm going to teach you what to look for and how to address somebody that's really sick, and to reverse it sometimes in a matter of days. I want to make this video somewhat short. I don't want to overwhelm people. I think if somebody really wants to learn everything that this video kind of steps through in its basics, you really want to get our free muscle testing course that teaches how to become Sherlock Holmes and test what's wrong with a person at the innate intelligence level. Because once you find out what's going on all the way back to the original event, we can start shifting people into a higher state of function, a higher state of health, and their self-esteem, their relationships, all of that stuff starts to improve. So the first thing we want to do when somebody's coming to us and they're exhausted, they're in physical pain, their digestion's messed up, they're just chronically getting the flu, they're sick, they're tired, we want to start by addressing their emotional traumas. I would say that would be one of the biggest things that I have done, and the doctors that have taught me have done, is to go right to people's trauma. And if someone will tell you and be vulnerable enough to explain maybe that their past has been difficult, or maybe what they're going through even in the present is really difficult, typically the body doesn't like to experience bad things repeatedly. So when we go through a hard time or a stressful, traumatizing event years ago, or even in childhood, and it happens again a few more times in our teenage days, in our adulthood, it becomes much more impacting on our bodies, and it does a lot more breakdown and aging of our bodies. So what we want to do is look at things at the original event. You want to learn muscle testing, sign up for our free course. There's nothing that you have to buy or anything. You could just get our 1-hour course that it teaches you how to get the original event. You go back and you muscle test people, typically using their arm, and you can find out subconsciously and go kind of time travel. It's kind of doing some basic emotional time travel, muscle testing back to what might have happened to them and resolving that. So you want to test what's wrong, get the original time that it happened, and then repair it. The repairs are called protocols, and we call them ACT or affirmation correction technique protocols. There's other protocols as well. There's tapping techniques, which some people call EFT or NET or NAET. All of those use tapping techniques specifically on the face and on the hands and even on the torso. And those pretty much have a way of addressing things kind of one event at a time. So what I encourage people is to find out what's wrong and to fix the biggest breakdowns that people have, the biggest causes of breakdown, which is trauma. So if someone will be willing and vulnerable enough to tell you, hey, this happened to me when I was young, this is happening now, I'm going through a hard time, I had a loss in the family, I was assaulted, I was abused, something happened really bad, and I suffered loss. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be healed. And when we heal these big traumas, you will see exponential improvement in people's function at a very deep level. And that's what the ACT protocols do, is they address things at a very deep level. And with magnetic therapy, what's happening is thoughts are electrical. When we have thoughts, there's electrical signals going back and forth, but feelings are magnetic, and they are magnetic in multiple ways. They attract things that happen, and also emotions have a way of being magnetic in our bodies and building up in certain organs. Even though we're feeling the emotion here because we're thinking about it, we also feel them in our bodies, just like why they call it heartbreak, why they call it galled up emotion. It's going into your gallbladder, galled up anger. That's why they call it nervous stomach, okay? Those are the areas, that store emotions, and we want to address these things at a innate intelligence, energetic way. So addressing trauma comes down to really the 5 big questions. I choose to be happy. Life is good. My mother and father love me. God is good, and love is good. If these 5 all don't show up as a strong response, something bad's going on in that person, or if you're testing yourself, someone's testing you, those 5 questions need to be strong. If you say life is good, it should be a strong muscle. If you say love is good, it should be strong. And if you say my mother and father love me, that should be a strong response. Just like God is good, love is good. All of these things should be yes responses, meaning your body gets strong, your muscles remain, activated. If anybody is saying out loud love is good and bam, their arm goes weak, or they just get, they feel tired, or they feel reduced, that means there's a trauma there that has to be repaired. So that's really the first step to addressing somebody that's really falling apart. The next step that you want to look at, are there systems in their proper place? Now, there are some basic systems people have running, and I like to address the biggest one. I'll tell you right now, medical science has no idea about this, neither do the therapy psychologist industry. They don't understand what the operating systems are. And it was discovered by Dr. Larry Gertler, I would say about 20 some years ago when I first met him. He had discovered the operating systems of people. And it's similar to acupuncture, where you have metal and wood and fire and water. A lot of that stuff is similar. That's the 5 element system. I think it's water, fire, earth, wood, and metal. But in a system that goes back even farther, I think it's about 7,000 years old, it used a system function that is passed in different, it's different than the meridian acupuncture points. There is an operating system that we run under that has one female characteristic and one male characteristic. So every human has a male and a female behavior and response or energy. So there's a male and a female. In other words, there's going to be a fire, water, earth, or air component, and everybody should be tested if they're in their genetic operating system. If somebody's out of their operating system, in other words, if they're PC and they've switched to Mac, or if they're Mac and they've switched to Unix, I don't know if you're familiar with computer systems, but every computer system has an operating system. If somebody has switched, you're talking about basically kind of a computer crash going on, and system crashes will lead a person's general health to decline very quickly. So if you've never heard of these operating systems, I would encourage you to at least sign up for our free muscle testing course, and it will direct you to understand some of that. And then we have more advanced courses that will train you step by step through all of this material. And of course, Dr. Gertler, the founder of the operating system discovery, he speaks directly to us, explaining even more information. And I actually was able to recover a book that he had put together. It's kind of a black and white book, but I was able to get a scan of it, and soon I will be making that available so that everybody can understand the 4 operating systems and how to even recognize people just by looking at their face and kind of sensing and looking at their height, their build, their facial structure, their shape of their bodies. And it really can tell you right away what operating system probably that person or yourself should be. And then when you test it, if it's not showing as that, that's got to be repaired. That's the second thing I would say to repair next, is make sure somebody's in their genetic systems. And then the last thing I would do, if somebody's chronically sick, they're going through a lot and their bodies are just not working well, especially around digestion, immune system, they have physical pain in their body, is to look at their gut function, why and how their digestion's working. If somebody's digestion is not working well, either because they're stressed out, they're not sleeping well, their energy is low, they're eating the wrong diet, and that comes into a whole nother area of understanding what that diet should be, because we're all different. And there's nobody on YouTube that should be telling you what your diet is, because it's not true. It's gonna have flaws. There's 25 different discovered known body types by Dr. Carolyn. And if you don't know your body type, it is pointless to listen to all these other gurus on YouTube or beyond, that even if they've got 50 years as being a medical doctor and they tell you this food is bad and that food is good, it's not entirely accurate. I'm telling you right now, I've seen it for myself, and I can tell you right now, that's the third area you want to check, is making sure somebody is in their genetic body type systems and they're eating what their body type is genetically made to do, because everybody's got a body type that was from their inherited place of genetics. Basically, people in different parts of the world for hundreds, maybe thousands of years have been surrounded by certain foods that grow in that country and that they're kind of designed to eat. And as people have traveled, moved, had children, mixed cultures, mixed different genetics, we have families now, commonly, where everybody's a different body type. So how does that work, when you bring dinner, right? So Dr. Carolyn talks about that in some of our advanced courses, and I would encourage you, if you are excited, you can look at some of the free videos that we have on this YouTube channel about body types and discover how to test your body type and to verify yourself and other people if your digestion is where it needs to be. Okay, so those are the first three big areas that I would check. The fourth one is allergy. The more people are stressed out, the more digestion doesn't work very well, and the more allergy starts to happen, because allergies start happening when the gut is messed up, when there is dysbiosis. That means the wrong kind of bacteria growing in the gut. And of course, some allergy is genetic. It's kind of always been there, even for children that are not stressed out. You've got plenty of children out there that are allergic to pollen or perfume or grass or their own pet. You know, they're allergic to their dog. Some of those allergies are genetic, and those can be reversed using our protocols. Same with the allergies that are happening due to bad digestion, which is typically from the first problem, emotional trauma. So those are the kind of the four things that I would address when someone's really falling apart, whether it be yourself, your family, or one of your clients, and you're working as a physician or a energy worker or a holistic healer. You're going to want to go through, fix those areas, and you'll see exponential improvement in the person's health within days. I mean, days meaning each time you've worked on them, it will only take a few times of working on them before they start to balance out and feel medium. Maybe not excellent and fully recovered, but they're very likely not to feel like they're really like falling apart. So I hope that helps you. I would encourage you to learn more on this channel, watch our other videos, put a like up if you like this video, subscribe so every time I make a new video, there's more content for you to be alerted from. And if you've never learned muscle testing, get started with our 1-hour free course at the link on our website. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.